Hey, welcome back to What Elon Said. Today is Friday, March 11th, and we are ready for another episode looking at what's going on in Musk land on the Twitterverse. First, today we have a reply, no new tweets, but a reply to Tim Urban, a favorite of Elon's and ours. Tim said that imagine an atom scattering machine completely disassembles your body's atoms into a cloud of floating atoms. Then it perfectly reassembles the atoms and you walk out feeling totally normal. Is the new you still you? And then he gave little diagrams, very detailed here with you.
Yeah,
you.
nice Tim Urban diagrams.
Yes.
Stick figures always help with the understanding.
I don't know if Tim has been watching a lot of Star Trek lately. I don't know, but this came out of nowhere. So what makes you you? And I guess an article he had. And then he said, for those who answered yes, what if instead of assembling you, we just did step 2 and 3, gathering those same atoms somewhere else and assembling them into the same exact you configuration? I'm already lost. Are there 2 yous now? If you're not controlling the body of new you, who is? Well, in this assembling and disassembling, Elon had a very philosophical answer here. Elon said, what if one atom at a time in your body was switched out for another atom? There would be you with all new atoms and another you with the original atoms. Human of Theseus. And I did look it up. The human of Theseus but the original Theseus, king of Athens, that his ship, I think, was rebuilt over time in a museum, and it was replaced with different parts of the ship. So, and I guess that's a human that you're replaced over time. Very deep stuff here. Mr. Kevin, what do you think about this?
Well, it is a favorite topic of Elon's, the ship of Theseus. He has definitely referenced it a couple times before with a couple of memes, maybe more than that too. One of the memes was just the classic 4 scenes of I'm thinking about replacing every part of my ship, and then the next one is, well, it'd still be the ship of Theseus, right? And it's just a blank stare, and they're like, well, it is, right? And then the other meme was one of, the prove you're not a robot and select all the squares with the ship of Theseus in it. And of course leads to the puzzling philosophical question of just whether it still is the ship of Theseus.
Yes.
But yeah, if you look it up on Wikipedia, I think my personal favorite was that of an old Buddhist text in which it says it was a body swapping story. So that this same philosophical problem has been presented in many different ways over thousands of years. But this one said, the storyteller tells of a traveler who encountered 2 demons in the night. As one demon ripped off all parts of his body one by one, the other demon replaced them with those of a corpse. The traveler was left confused about who he was after the body swapping. So kind of like the analogous to Beam Me Up, Scotty here.
Yes.
Is it still you? So definitely a question that Elon has pondered over the years, I would say.
Is just thinking all the atoms are replaced, and it is the physical you, but they didn't discuss is the soul reassembled, or is it still there? Where does the soul go? Can that be transported?
Yes, that's next level deepness on that question, I'd say. But we'll jump over to the likes. That was the only tweet for the day. Okay, well, we'll start where we left off yesterday. And another one of Elon's favorite topics, which is population collapse. And Pranay Pathole, which is another favorite of Elon's, he says, population collapse is one of the greatest risks to the existence of human civilization. Many people seem to think that overpopulation is a problem, when in reality, it's the opposite. Population is declining at a massive rate. And here we have our jumbled spaghetti chart, which all of us are left to make sense of. Spend time in our precious time in our day to dig into here. But I think the trend is evident. All the lines are heading down for the most part.
Yes.
So even though we're
children,
stuck in traffic and we look around day to day and we're like, oh my God, there's people everywhere. And you get on social media and it just seems like there's an infinite number of people. In reality, actually, these numbers are trending downward. And
yes,
looking far enough out, as Elon tends to do, doesn't look good for us.
Yeah, and I think the reason they're saying it's depopulation is bad, which we think less people, more room, is that there's less demand. Economies will shrink, innovation would shrink. Overall, the overall aspirational growth of humankind would substantially go down, because there won't be people around to make things, won't be service people, help people. It would just be a disaster all around, because as the population, the younger population decreases, the older population is still there, and you have a society of older people, which leads to collapse in the end.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought that I've had as I've dug into more of Elon's old interviews, where he really talks about how optimistic and what a fan of humanity he is. And I've thought about, like, I think we've all had these opinions or thoughts before that, yeah, it feels like there's too many people here and we're ruining the planet. But when you really think about the joys and benefits that humanity as a whole have provided for individuals over the years, it's like, I don't think I want to live in a world where there's not enough people, actually. That actually sounds pretty miserable when you think of all the advantages we have right now. So I don't know. I probably flip back and forth on that opinion from time to time, but it was definitely a thought I was having when listening to some of his older interviews.
It is interesting. In a world where there's really, the population decrease is really a world where there's no young people. It's a lot of old people, which is not a good world.
Yeah, not always. They do provide wisdom from time to time, but not always a lot of innovation.
No.
All right. Well, speaking of helping the population decline situation, we have Elon liking a mini thread from Grimes, his on again, off again partner. And she is referring to a big Vanity Fair cover story of which she is the subject, and goes on to talk about how appreciative she is of the story and those that were involved in it, and to clarify a few things, and saying that she really wanted to bring light to her work. But probably the biggest takeaways in terms of this channel, right, are that first of all, they announced that they have a second child together, a daughter, and her name is Exa Dark Sidereal. I hope I pronounced that right. And she said that the Exa refers to exaflops, which is a supercomputing term. All right. The dark refers to the unknown, which she says we shouldn't fear. And sidereal refers to the true time of the universe, not our relative Earth time. So this child will go by Y for short, is what they've said. And then she also mentions her relationship with Elon here, saying that me and E have broken up again since the writing of this article, haha. But he's my best friend and the love of my life, and my life and art are forever dedicated to the mission now. And clarifying down below that the mission is sustainable energy, making humanity a multiplanetary species, and the preservation of consciousness. So what do you think? Big news?
I
I'll
think
say
big
congrats
news.
to Elon and
He's
Grimes. That's awesome.
yeah, congratulations to them. There are more kids. It's always good. They broke up, but they're it's the seventh one. The kids have to, inherit less money each, so they're probably all upset. No. Not that that'll be a problem, but it's
Well, we know
I
what
think
Elon's
their
thoughts
names
are about inheriting money anyway,
yes, I
so
know.
not sure that's looking good for them anyway.
So it's interesting. It's X and Y chromosome probably. I don't know if they're having another what they would choose, X2 or XY2.
I
But
don't know. Now I had this conversation with my son earlier, and he was like, "Oh, that's interesting. I wonder if they'll have another one and call it S, or like Model S. We got Model X, we got Model Y.
That's
We
right.
might have
That's
three.
right.
Three would be
You
next,
never
I
know.
guess."
Yes.
And then he said they might have a CT, Model CT. That would be like, he'd be the big bulky one. But yeah, interesting. I had not heard that take before. I thought it was an interesting connection.
Very interesting. Yeah.
But
so what else do
yeah,
we have here?
overall, some exciting news there for them.
So we have SpaceX had the first 33 engine super heavy booster reach full height. So this is interesting that they're I didn't realize they didn't reach it yet, but I think this is their other one, not the main one they're going to be using. This is the new one.
With the 33 engines?
With the 33 as opposed to 29 or so. So they're moving fast. Even before the first one's launched, they're already doing that. And interesting article. I went through a lot of stats on it, that it's 6 or 7 times the thrust of the Falcon, not Falcon Heavy, I think it is.
Okay.
Or what's the Falcon Heavy,
9,
right?
maybe.
Yeah. Well, Falcon 9 by itself, it's like 10 times, 11 times that. And then the Falcon Heavy, I think it is, with the 3 thrusters, it's 3 thrusters, it's more. And then it's just massive ship. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. It's, 2 stages like the other new one they're having. And
yeah, I guess when we reviewed
something
about this, I think last week, where it was first noted about adding the additional engines, I was under the impression that they were just going to squeeze them in there. But now I think about that, there wasn't really a whole lot of space to squeeze like 4 more engines in. So I guess they had to widen the diameter of the whole booster to fit those.
Yeah, and we'll have to dig into this. Maybe that their construction, they're building the prototypes right now, so I'm sure it's very custom development, and they don't really have the assembly line process yet for these vehicles. So I wonder if they're building, or if this was built an assembly line process where once they perfect it, they can just crank these super heavies out. That is Elon stated that that's his goal, is to have a production line for these where they have hundreds of them. And I don't know if they're at that stage yet, or that is a future development.
Well, this was a couple months ago, right, where there was the panic about the engine production, because the engine production, I think, is the bottleneck for them. And he said it was an all hands on deck situation where they had to increase production of the engines.
So it was production. So they do have an assembly line built for the Falcons and the super heavies planned. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's like the key. That's the reusable is the big key, and then the second part is the actual mass production of those vehicles.
Yep. So exciting, always exciting news coming out of Starbase and SpaceX. We have Whole Mars Catalog here saying that this tweet was sent from Starlink. It visited space before arriving on your phone. I saw this that Omar of Whole Mars was very excited to have received his Starlink terminal. And he said, I even have just regular broadband and I wanted to get Starlink just to check it out. And so he's been using that. Yeah, and I also listened to the conversation that Dave Lee had with one of of the old executives of Cloudflare, I think it was the cybersecurity
Yes.
company, about the war in Ukraine. And at one part they were talking about Starlink, and he gives some really insightful thoughts about it, and just about how it could be beneficial. Certainly, like, kudos to Elon for doing this. It's definitely beneficial to the government there and those that receive them, but they have to be careful, just like Elon said, right? They have to be very careful about their usage of them, because they could be targeted, particularly if it's only like members of the government that are using them. So Russians could intercept those signals and take them out.
Yeah.
So
It's gotta watch out.
yeah, but that'll be a developing story, I'm sure, just as Starlink continues to ramp and get more satellites and provide more service around the world.
Mhm.
All right.
So to finish up here, we have just 2 likes for nice nice info about Tesla, how they're doing well. One, economically, they're selling like hotcakes. They were the #1 US luxury car maker in January, surpassing BMW, and they surpassed them by 20% in sales, which is
Jeez.
amazing. So
Yeah.
they are making them as fast as they can still. And this is even with the backlog. So I had the feeling they'd be even higher, surpassing BMW at this point. So a little market's definitely being shaken up at an accelerating rate. And the other news is that they were awarded the best overall luxury brand from the Blue Book for the 3rd year in a row. So not only they're selling the best, they're actually rated the best. You can get better than that right now. So they're definitely doing good job.
Those are not bad awards to have on your wall. So cool stuff. And yeah, as we've heard, the orders are just accelerating, like particularly with the current global situation. It's like over 100% in the last week, the orders have gone up. So
oh yeah.
I don't know. I think that's really exciting, but it can also be a little bit daunting when they're already struggling to meet the demand, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if we got another factory location announcement this year. What do you think?
I think there's a high likelihood of that. It's a question of whether it's going to be in the US or opening up to another market. I think it's much more likely that they'll open a second factory with easy access to the US, would be Mexico or Brazil, or somewhere where they could get them over here in the region, is my guess.
Yeah.
And I also know they just increased the price of most of the Tesla models, except for the 3, by another $1,000, and I think $1,500 in China. So they are increasing.
Oh, they increased it by $1,500.
Yeah, they announced that yesterday. Wow. So they're increasing because of the demand. Yeah. It's interesting that the 3 was not increased. So I guess the demand for the 3 is not as high as the others, as the Y.
Well, I don't see that demand slowing down anytime soon. I mean, it's pretty good for them that they got 2 huge factories opening up this year. So that should help. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if there's another announcement this year, because they're probably going to need it, because I don't see this slowing down anytime soon.
Where do you think they'd open one?
I'm with you. Probably Central America area. I don't know what their presence is in the Americas and South America there.
I don't think it's too much, but Brazil is a huge market, and if it was produced there, which there is a lot of auto manufacturing there, or in Mexico, would make the most sense to me. I can't imagine they could build another one in the US.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the likelihood of it, another location being announced, really would be. I don't know, maybe like 50%, because now I think about it, you got Austin, Berlin, you got to focus hard on those to get them ramping. And then he's also mentioned expanding Shanghai and expanding Fremont. So it's almost like depending on how big those expansions are, you could be talking about new factories right there, basically.
That's true. That's true. So it might be a while.
Yeah, but full speed ahead, and demand's full speed ahead, but so is supply.
Yes. Yes.
Interesting times, exciting times.
Absolutely.
For Tesla. All right, well, I think we'll wrap it up there. We'll be back, unless there's anything real exciting over the weekend, we'll be back on Monday. Hope everyone has a great weekend. And if you like the video, please give it a like, share it, and subscribe. We'll be doing this every day.
Great. We'll see you then.
Thanks.